Well, okay, welcome everybody. Hopefully everybody's in to our 2025 how-to clinics. So JT is going to talk to us about our figure-8 trestle that we built down at the cannery. This was, if any of you got down there over Christmas, we had this set up from Black Friday through New Year's, and it was a big hit, so take it away.
All right, thank you. Again, I'm JT from the old cannery. Contrary to popular belief, I am not a club member. I know.
Spend all the money on it.
I know. So anyhow, basically we are the fun furniture store. That's kind of what our main logo is and what we're known for. And so every year we try to do something different for Santa Land, and we do varied layouts. Those of you who've gone there the last couple of years, I had about a 12-foot Christmas tree helix HO. We ran that for 5 years, having some operational issues, so we got rid of that. So we did something new this year. So anyhow, our challenge every year is, to do something different and big and every year. So actually, can you just forward the next slide? So we were already working on Christmas stuff and have been since January. Again, what we want is just a wow factor when the kids come in there and adults. And we want something a little more interactive. And I know this is just gonna drive you engineers nuts, but when I build stuff and think of stuff, I like to just have a basic plan, and then I just start building. I creative, and along the way, and especially when you're doing it, somebody else paying for materials, it works just fine. So, and I get paid to do it. So, and again, we use the KISS principle, which is keep it simple, student. For you teacher, that's the political correct way. Next slide. So our space, we can actually do like a 60-foot layout. I think at one time we were going to use you guys for Father's Day thing, and they were going to have to move too much furniture to do that. But so actually Bob came up with the idea we're just basically doing a figure-8, which is these bents here, and I'll explain that a little bit later. Just nice and simple. Flat. We were going to do it kind of where it goes underneath type of stuff. Then we had to deal with grade and all that, and each bent would have to be different. And it's like, nope, keep it simple. So 55 inches is this bent. And then the small one is 29. I made 40 of each, lots of angles, so you can all appreciate that. That was an all summer project. One thing though, we put it together and take it down in a couple hours, and that was just Bob and I. So actually it's not too bad. Next slide. Build as you plan as you build. Again, I explained that earlier. I like to just be creative and have fun. Use what you have, and then form versus function. You can all understand that. Next slide. So over to our John Deere facility. I saw these in the corner. This is always a good thing during campaign season. But how many signs of these do you see around? And I noticed all those in the corner, and I grabbed them. So 90% of all our layout was made with recycled materials. So of course the boss loves that. So all these bents were made with this.
Did you vote for Bill?
No. He's actually an older mayor a couple of years ago. And then the long stringers are from pallets. So one thing at the cannery, we have unlimited foam, unlimited pallets, cardboard, you name it. So we actually posted this up during Christmas so people could see the recycle. So basically, Bob wrote this up. This train trestle was constructed by recycling over 300 used election signs. Each trestle bent was made by recycling wood from old pallets and campaign signposts. Construction assembly of the trestle took hundreds of hours and nearly a year to complete. It is designed to be reused for many years in several configurations. Cool part is we have a lot of flexibility to do a bunch of other stuff with it. Next slide. So the trestle bent construction, again, I put some feet on here because I work a lot by myself, so I kind of wanted to have it in this room where I could kind of set stuff up, eye it, and go, that doesn't look right. Oh, by the way, if you haven't guessed, this is not to scale. So scale is more of a suggestion at the store.
It's like being a pirate.
Yeah, so go ahead. Oh, and cabinet screws. If you haven't used cabinet screws, it's the next best thing since sliced bread. This is what they look like. They're spindy, and they got a little pan head on them and a little smooth shaft, so you can actually screw into an end of a 1x2 and not split it. That's what these cabinet screws are designed to do, is so you don't have to pre-drill holes. So very rarely will you actually split it. So that's kind of what most of all this stuff was made. Next slide. And again, the two bents, lots of angles. Go ahead and next one. The thing that we kind of dealt with was using our cross braces, and we decided to use U-bolts. So we put this in here to connect this bent to the next bent. And the nice part with the big figure 8, as you know, your radius gets tighter, so you can just kind of slide. So each one of these are the same size. These are all campaign signs, so you can move them up. You don't have to worry about, easy wing nuts. I probably spent about $400 on hardware, so that was kind of the most expensive thing. So the cool part of this, I made this the same height as this, so I could later do a configuration. I was going to do actually a Lionel. Can you say Lionel in this group? Layout on the inside of the circle a little tighter, but I didn't end up doing that.
Lionel offered cheesecake.
There you go. Yeah, that's it.
Lionel was the first cheesecake thing I
That's it. Next slide. Bridges. This one was the arch bridge that I did. Again, it's kind of hard to tell, but there's actually an old bed frame, which is my metal piece across. So an old kind of an L bracket bed frame. They throw that stuff. I dumpster dive all the time. You wouldn't believe some of the stuff our store throws away. And that's PVC board. So I bent that. I think I talked to Al earlier about gluing that stuff. Glue doesn't work very well on that, but ended up screwing it. But it will snap on you. But what I did is I bent it and used a heat gun, heat it up, and then once you get into the permanent position, heat it up really good with a heat gun, and it stays like that. So just like you were saying, you experiment. Sometimes you find this stuff out by accident and it works out all right. Next slide. So this is kind of near the end where we had a 10-foot big old bear that we hadn't used in a couple of years. So we ended up putting that inside on one section and just built around it, and that was real popular. So you can see the floor. We took they were going to throw this drain pipe away. I think that's an 1.5 inch conduit drain pipe, and I did it in a circle, kind of what our radius was going to be, and then I marked it. So that was on the floor. See, I built this at a different location at our John Deere facility across the street. So we kind of used that and then used cabinet screws into the floor. I actually marked each one and ABC. And I really didn't need to because most of these are all pretty close. But next slide. We could probably do a clinic just on this one, but built a crossing gate off our old signal we had. Anybody know what that box is below? There you go. It's an upside down garbage can. So I wanted something to make it look like the utility box, painted it silver. The frame of the gate arm is just an old frame of a picture aluminum, and then the lights work on it. They actually are all work like a prototypical signal. And then behind it you can kind of see a little thing at a motor. It's a worm drive recliner motor, which they just throw those things away. And I probably got a dozen of them, so if you ever want one, let me know. Just got a worm screw drive, and so the gate up and down, but that was pretty cool. Next slide. Kind of hard to see, but that's kind of, I know Al was there, Jimmy came, and a few other we had this thing running from Black Friday to the 2nd of January. And one thing we did do, at least on this one, it ran the entire time. If the store's open, this was running. So we pretty much had the Jeep 38 on it, the big locomotive, and it ran the whole time. Used the metal barricades and then the gate. And if you go to the next slide, there's kind of hard to see the expression of the kids in there, but we put the gate up. So I had a chair there. We put the gate up, let the kids go inside, the train would go around their heads. And, you know, it was just amazing. I had one in there, I had 13 people in there at one time. So it was very, very popular. And then on the way out, they got a ticket punched, kind of like the old Polar Express. That actually was quite popular. Go on to the next one. Basically, if I had to do it again, well, it was very feedback on it was great. Kids loved to go in there, even parents, and watch the train go around. I do a jig for the bents. Instead, when I made the first one, I just lay this down and then build on it, you know. And I've done HO where you've done a jig, and then I do a paint trough because it took me a long time to paint. So if you look at my weathering here, which is an attempt to make it creosote looking, so I did a black base spray and then a brown overtones, and then at a distance a gray, and that's kind of make it look like old creosote. So, I mean, I think it came across okay, but yeah, well, there you go. Ease and setup. And by the way, if you're ever interested, any of you, and it's available for you guys as a club, if you ever wanted to use it, something a little smaller than your ginormous setup. It's basic, it's just got the figure 8, but again, you can put, it was designed to have a train up here, here, and down below. So we only did the one up top. If you go to the next slide, let's see if we can get the video to work. Here we go. Wants to work. Bob did a GoPro on this. You can see the lighted bridge. Off to the right is the corral where everybody waits for Santa. You can see the trestle. Bob did the signal bridge, and the signals work. I'm not sure if it'll have sound, but there's a reed switch where right about here it clicks on the reed switch. There you go. Kind of building I made up there. So we're going through the arch bridge. Kind of a cool look. Again, there's a corral where the kids wait for Christmas, or Santa. Another signal bridge coming up. And that was kind of an afterthought. We just added those. To your right, you can kind of see the teddy bear. Again, it's simple, not too complicated, just a flat track, and that's pretty much it. Yeah, so, oh, and for what we're doing for next Christmas, I should say this Christmas, actually going to do a, we're going to do about 20 of the, so our theme this year is gingerbread. So we're going to have the train going through the gingerbread men. Again, this is all cardboard, 5 layers, 1 by 2. This is kind of a prototype. I'm going to do some stuff a little different, but so this is kind of the fun stuff we get to do and actually get paid to do it too. So, well, thank you for your attention, and I think I'm done. Any questions, comments?
Yep. Got one question or suggestion. This would be a great thing to build for people who have off the ground railroads, and maybe their track runs on a steel post. Put this up, cover up, camouflage. It's detail, I know, but it's something that you could put in front of the post that's supporting the track. Just looks a little more realistic than having a post sticking up like that.
Yeah,
You
absolutely.
want to hire me? I'll come down.
There you go. Careful what you wish for, mister.
That's great.
So the track actually just sat right on top of the bent. There wasn't anything in between the bents. They were probably about
A foot?
Yeah, about a foot apart. And with even just a big Jeep 38 USA Trains engine, it didn't sag the track at all. That's a code 250.
The stainless.
Kansas Valley track. These are also wide enough, he made it wide enough where you could have 2 tracks side by side, so you could have a double figure 8. So that makes the crossings pretty interesting, so.
Yeah, and our
We
crossing.
haven't quite figured that one out.
Yeah, in our crossing, we had to use brass, code 332, so we had to do a joint reduction, and so, because we used 250, and I got a bunch of that track still, but yeah, it was fun, and as like I said, it's designed to, we can have we're gonna do a dump train or at least a trolley in the middle this coming Christmas. That'll go around, and we could put something in the middle, and yeah, it was, we'll probably do this for several years and just do variations.
So I'm not sure exactly how many times it happened, but if you can imagine having 40 of these bents all set up in a figure 8, and what happens if you bump one? Dominoes, boom, 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 boom. I think it happened a couple times
Yes.
where
Yeah, the
you
old
might
the old
step
domino
through
effect.
and you bump it, oh no. Yeah.
And again, open invitation for a VIP tour if you guys come to the store. I know maybe some of the new people that haven't been to the store, and take you downstairs and show you what we do and all that other stuff. And actually, if you want to come run a train, you know, during business hours, feel free to, you know, do that. We can, you know, we have at least one track where you can just go up the stairs, throw a train on there, and run it. So, I mean, our track is powered, but you know, that's no big deal. So, anyhow, and again, make sure you get your lottery or your raffle ticket, and we'll do that at the end here.
Yeah, so I guess that's one thing, is all of our track is track power. We've got Bridgeworks power supplies, so we've got plenty of juice there. So if you've got something that isn't converted over to battery power, you can bring it down there and try it out.
Yep.
In fact, we've had a couple people do that. But obviously, you can just turn the power off and you can run your, you know, battery powered one around there too. So, let's see. Hey, Alan, could you bring up the schedule again, please?